What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast. This, of course, is the podcast that is designed to help you as a realtor become a top producer in your desired market, no matter what market that may be. We also want to help as many team leaders and brokers as we can develop more top producers in their organization, whatever market you may serve. We also are partnered on a local level by the Tampa Bay Real Producers platform here in beautiful Tampa Bay, Florida. And we feature the top 500 producing realtors in this local market through our monthly magazine, which of course is called Tampa Bay Real Producers, and many of our event programs and this podcast, which once again is called Top Producers Nation. So thanks for joining us today. If you're familiar with our Real Producers platform, you probably know that we have a list of great partners, what we call preferred partners, who support our platform, and we invite many of them on the show so you guys can get to meet them and learn more about how they serve the Tampa Bay community and other communities throughout the state of Florida and beyond in some cases. So today we got Mr. Dale and we got Gerstenberger. How you doing, Dale?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. It's good to have you here. Dale is one of the owners with Robert. I believe it's just you and Robert, right, that own it together. Paramount Home Inspectors. I know that they work with a lot of you agents out there in the Tampa Bay market. Paramount's been a partner now with Real Producers for about 2 years, I believe. So just over 2 years. Come to some of our events, sponsored a lot of our events over these years, and we appreciate that support, of course.
Of course.
So we'll start a little bit just with your background. So what got you involved in home inspection, Dale? Were you involved at all prior to starting Paramount, or was this a new venture for you?
I wasn't. It's quite a wild story, actually. We got married back in 2019, and 3 months later bought a house. Just kind of worked out that way. My business partner was our inspector, and he's like, "Hey, you've got some of the skills. You understand a lot of this stuff. Like, why don't you go get your home inspection license?" And I was working 2 to 3 jobs at the time, trying to figure out what I wanted to do with life. I could see AI and robots were taking over the career that I had, so I was looking into the future, and I said, "You know what? Maybe I'll go check it out." So got into it, and I finally found something that I truly believe in and enjoy going to work and doing.
Nice. That was 2019, you said?
That was 2019, yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, did you meet Robert? Did you know him already, or did you guys?
I didn't. He was a referral from our real estate agent.
Very cool. And so Robert was already in the industry. I know that he had a little bit of a background with this, right? With a different brand, I believe.
It was a different company, yeah. He's been in the industry for over 30 years now.
Got it. Okay, so it was nice to kind of partner up with someone with that level of expertise and experience in the industry. And sure. I think you were ready to grind and hustle and get out there and start networking, right?
Yeah, corporate life wasn't for me.
And I know we didn't know you quite yet when you guys first started back in 2019. I know we met you a couple of years after that, but from my understanding, based on our previous conversations, like you guys hit the ground running pretty quickly.
Extremely quick.
It seemed like there was some immediate traction in that first year. So what worked for you to be able to like get out there and build and network and develop the relationships that you've been able to develop so far?
I think of a lot of it's just a personality skill, just being able to talk to anybody, anywhere, striking up conversations with random people, see a magnet on a car at Texas Roadhouse, shoot the guy a text, "Hey, you want a beer? Let's chat." Funny story, that guy's using us all the time now.
That's great.
And we've got the rest of his agency on board just from one simple text from a car magnet.
That's wild.
Yeah, being able to talk with anybody and having a personality that blends well with others.
And so when you guys initially hooked up, you guys had different focuses, I'd imagine, and roles, and that could still be the case today. Was Robert more of the on-the-field inspection guy, and you were more of like the networker and the building of the relationships, or is that not really how it shook out?
It wasn't so static at the beginning. We kind of adjusted. When we both started out, it was just the two of us, and volume took off, and we couldn't keep up, and we're like, well...
You were both doing inspections, right?
We were both doing inspections, so we're like, well, I guess we need to add some staff and train them the way that we do things, not the industry standards. And focus on providing a different level of support. And we just took off, and we've gotten busy, and it's been a blessing.
Nice. Let's talk a little bit about that. What do you think over these years that you've had the company has helped you distinguish yourself from, what some would consider to be a typical inspector, right? Or some other certain things that you've embraced that has made you different in the industry in any way?
I think it's communication. One of the things I do is I send an email to every single client every night when they schedule an inspection with us, and I'm like, "Hey, here's my cell phone number. If you have any problems, give me a shout.
Okay.
Like, let's chat." So I try to be open and available to people. Just having that communication and being out there, I think, makes a big difference, and always being accessible.
Okay, got it. Do you feel like that's one of the common challenges that you hear from agents is having an inspector that is not great on the communication front?
Can't reach him, won't pick up his phone, can't get on his schedule. We've adjusted for all of those.
Yeah, I can. That makes sense, and I've heard that too. That's why I bring it up. So
Yeah.
I could definitely relate to that concept. And you guys, though, have grown as an entity, so it's not just you and Robert out there doing inspections anymore. Correct me if I'm wrong. But you guys have built a team of people now doing that, right?
We've got 9 on staff now.
9 inspectors.
Now 8 inspectors and our office manager.
Very cool. And what areas do you focus in on?
Any county that touches Hillsborough. That's the easiest way to say it.
So
Yeah.
all of Tampa Bay, right? Pinellas County, Hillsborough County, Pasco County. Do you guys go as far north as Hernando?
We'll do Hernando. We'll do a little Polk. I was north of Orlando last week, but
Okay.
we do what needs to be we do what we need to do to get it done.
Very cool. How many inspections did you guys do in 2025?
Oh, I'd have to go back and look. 2025 was probably our highest volume year. We're cooking with gas.
That's very cool.
Going.
So it's been growing pretty. Has every year kind of grown on the next? Is that how it's worked out so far?
Yeah.
Very cool. So 2026 is even more exciting then, right?
I'm looking forward to it.
So what has worked for you guys? I'm assuming, the relationship with agents is obviously a big part of the growth that you've had, I have to imagine.
It is.
And obviously that's why you guys chose to partner with us too, with Tampa Bay Real Producers. So what have been, I know you mentioned communication earlier, but are there any specific ways that you've gone about building these relationships with realtors that have worked well for you guys?
It's being social with them. I love to add them on Facebook, see some of the funny, wild things that we see and post. That's always a good laugh, and it makes them feel like they're connected. We'll take them to hockey games. We'll take them to Lightning games. We've got a couple agents that we'll take on a semi-regular basis, and they don't see it this way, but I get a hostage for 3 hours to talk about real estate and business, and we get to go have some fun, have a couple beers, and get to know each other a little better. And it builds that relationship, and that trust is there, and they learn who we are and who I am outside of the suits and ties business world when we're out actually having fun as normal people.
Sure. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, that's kind of how all business works, isn't it?
It should.
The relationship is where it starts first. Do you guys invest energy in doing like lunch and learn type stuff and educating agents at their actual offices or brokerages, or do you focus more on the individual agent relationship compared to the broker? Or what is your thought on that?
I value referrals. So we focus more on, instead of just throwing a net and seeing what we can catch, I focus on building the individual relationships with the actual agents, getting to know them, getting to know their kids, their pets, their hobbies. It's funny, when I started playing hockey, a bunch of agents reached out and they're like, hey, like, where do you play? Because they all play too. And so it's kind of cool to have those extra little curriculars that go on behind the scenes and get to play with some of them on the ice. Yeah,
for sure. Regarding like specific services that you guys bring, is there what types of inspections do you guys offer now? Is there anything unique about that?
So we offer obviously your standard resale inspection. We do pre-listing inspections when people are getting ready to sell the house. They want to know what the other inspector is going to find so they can get a leg up on fixing some things beforehand. Obviously insurance inspection, so wind mitigation's 4 points. I'm also dual licensed as a mold assessor, so I'm the assessor license for the company. So we'll do mold testing, and I focus on giving honest information with that. There's a lot of guys that I got into the mold world because it was a predatory industry, and a lot of people just take advantage of people not understanding how mold works.
Interesting.
So I went and got the license for that, and
meaning like overpricing their quotes, or what makes it predatory?
Not even that, just scaring people into believing they've got a ridiculous situation when it's a relatively easy fix. Just like duct cleaning. Duct cleaning sometimes we view as a scam. Depending on the company, there are some legitimate companies out there, so don't come for me. Most of these duct cleaning companies it's not something that most homes need. Change your air filter, do your maintenance. You shouldn't have to do too much of that.
Right.
So it's just a predatory tactic that a lot of these guys use to boost sales and scare people into believing they've got bigger situations than they actually do. It's a relatively small, contained situation that can be resolved. And a lot of companies just don't operate that way.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Unfortunately, I think that's probably the case in a lot of industries out there, especially ones where they're a little bit more a lack of education, I guess is the way you could put it, that agents might have or anyone might have about what they're really dealing with. Right. I'm sure even in your time now in running the business, you've come across some pretty interesting experiences with these different inspections you've done, right?
Oh, for sure.
You've seen it all, I would imagine, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right?
Oh, yeah.
Over the years. From your perspective, in terms of the great experiences you've had in working with agents and having a distinction in that versus some of the bad experiences that you've had in working with agents, What have you noticed as the difference between the two? What do you think are the most important things that you would want an agent to know in terms of making sure that everything goes smooth, that you guys are on the same team and working well together? What do you think is important for them to understand?
Don't rush it. Just simply don't rush it. Give yourself a fair inspection window. If an inspector has next day availability without a cancellation, there's usually a reason for that. Give yourself time to get someone qualified that you trust, that your client can interview and talk to first. Do things the right way. Sometimes it's a little slower. Don't try to get a sale just to close a deal. Do what's right for the customer, because if you take care of them, they'll call you back a million times. They'll tell their friends, we had such a great experience. We all know how many real estate agents there are out there, and being the one that comes with that warm referral because you actually took the time to not just close the deal, but make sure their hand was held, so to speak, throughout the process makes a huge difference.
Is that one of the common mistakes that you see some agents make is trying to rush things?
I just need a closing. We hear it all the time. We just need to close the deal. And it's just like, there's no empathy for the customer.
Right.
They're making their biggest lifetime investment, and there's no empathy towards that sometimes. It's just, I need to close the deal. I need the numbers.
Yeah, it's interesting. And you know, I get it, but when an agent has commission breath, that usually can be sensed and smelled by a lot of people, right?
You would think.
Right.
Sometimes it's not as easy to see, but we'll pick it up on the backside. It's unfortunate, but it's part of the world, and we'll try to help the customers the best that we can.
Totally. No, I get that. One of the common threads I think I've noticed in the interviews, we've probably had about over 150 people now that we've done episodes with on this show, and close to maybe 1,000 interviews when it comes to the magazine content, right, over the years. The top producers do seem to have a common mentality of viewing it as if they're a true consultant, right? Mm-hmm. Rather than the sales approach or the sales attitude or mentality that you're describing there a little bit. Of course, that's not true across the board. There's always going to be exceptions. But at the end of the day, we encourage, all agents, whether it's from this show or panels. We just ran a panel last week we now run our monthly panels at the Suncoast Realtor Association building in Tampa. And we had, a great group there, and we talked a lot about how to sell homes quickly, and then utilizing consultants and the right types of questions to be able to ask to make sure these houses sell fast. You mentioned one of the services earlier that you provide is that, what did you call it? A pre-inspection?
Pre-listings.
Pre-listing. Is that pretty standard now in your industry, or is that unique?
It depends, right? I think there are some companies that focus on just mold or just the full gamut of home inspections. It's something that we've noticed. I think with experience, like, hey, this could make your life easier. We've seen these nightmare houses, or the agent says the house is ready for inspection. It's perfect. You're not going to find anything wrong. 6 hours later, I'm like, oh, we're still here. And this could have been avoided. So having something like that done ahead of time is it's responsible, but it also makes the process so much easier, and it's less stressful for your clients that are selling the house because they already know what's going to be found, and makes that a little easier.
And then in your experience, when you do that and the client now has provided a list of things that you guys would recommend, I guess, that they fix or tune up before they actually sell the property, in most cases, does that something that the seller actually embraces themselves to do and invest in, or do they usually just disclose that and try to get the buyer to be able to take care of those things as part of the deal? Do you have any experience with that?
We actively tried to include them in it. So it's not just, hey, this is a handshake and a quick business deal. We're not bagging groceries and walking out the door. I want you to know what you're dealing with. So we're kind of coaching them on it, and usually they embrace it. They're like, wow, this is really good information. Sometimes it's not the best news, but it's better to know about that beforehand, before you've got a deal on the line that might cancel and you're wasting time and days on the market.
And then obviously when the buyer does come, they're still going to have their own inspection done, of course, as well. And when you do these listing inspections, do you find that those two different inspection reports tend to match up a lot of times, or is there usually a lot of conflict between those two different inspections?
They're usually pretty close. Yeah. I don't get yelled at for them, so that's a positive thing. I don't normally get phone calls. I mean, we're all human, right? Mistakes happen. I don't normally get phone calls where we get people that are like, hey, all of this was missed. Like, we don't normally get those. Granted, we put time into it, so doing one this afternoon, it'll probably take me about 3.5 hours, but they're going to get a thorough review of the home, and they're going to know exactly what's going on. And with the standard process and procedure, you really can't miss things. So if you're doing things right, and you're doing it the right way, it should pan out about the same. Obviously, there's some opinion differences. I might categorize something as more of a safety issue since I have like a fire rescue background, whereas some other people might not classify it as big, or they might have a different opinion on it if they came from the electrical or HVAC world before they got into this. So it just really depends, but most of the time they're pretty on track.
Interesting. And I'm assuming, unlike a realtor who sometimes will work both sides of the deal, that doesn't really jive in your world, right? Like you wouldn't be the inspector on both sides of the deal, would you?
I mean, it's happened.
Is that considered
right?
a conflict of interest?
I don't know that it would be. I'll have to check with our lawyers. But if someone hires us to do a pre-listing inspection, we're working for the buyer, and then someone hires us that, let's say, a listing agent or a buyer's agent that we know refers us to their client to do the inspection, we would be forthcoming with them and say, hey, we've already inspected this property, but we're going to have a different inspector take a look at it. And go
just
through
to get
it.
another opinion or whatever.
Yeah, it's a different contract, different agent at that point. So it'd be something to investigate, but I don't think that happens too often.
I wouldn't imagine it would, because I mean the seller or the buyer, I should say, would know, right, that you guys were the ones providing the selling inspection. I'm assuming they'd want a different company, different opinion anyway. But yeah, interesting how that could shake itself out. Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. So what do you get excited about now? I know you guys keep growing every single year. You think about 2026 and beyond. Like when you think about your company and your projections for growth, what do you plan for when you think ahead for the rest of this year and even beyond? What gets you excited?
We're focusing on trying to future-proof the company, so changing our software a little bit to be a little more in tune with the world. There's a lot of developments on the AI front on that aspect. Not something I'm super keen on because we all know we can fool ChatGPT. But trying to future-proof, build systems in place that make it so mistakes can't happen and that there's checks and balances, and just utilizing technology to its fullest ability.
Yeah. Do you think your industry is one that's been slow to adopt to technology in general, or is it you think that at least the movers and shakers are embracing it?
I think the active inspectors are embracing it. New tech is always great. We could see things we couldn't see before. Thermal imaging was a huge breakthrough, right? Like we could not see through walls, but you can see additional things that your naked eye couldn't pick up.
Right.
So now we've figured out how to strap those cameras to drones, and now we can utilize those in a totally different way. So it's interesting how the technology is going. There are some old school guys that still like to do things the old hard way, and props to them. Like, go for it.
It's worked for them. It's worked for them.
If it's working, it's working. But there's no reason not to be afraid of it. Just interview it appropriately.
Yeah. What types of reporting systems do you use? If an agent was working with you guys, what would they expect in terms of the type of report, when they would get a report? How does that usually shake out?
So we do our reports on site. Everything's filled on a mobile device. So as soon as we find a defect, it gets in there. So ADHD brain doesn't kick in and forget to put the picture in the report, which results in problems down the line. So future proofing. So as soon as we see the problem, we throw it right into the report. We can annotate it with arrows, circles, all the fun things, put some descriptions on it. And so the report is done pretty much on site. I tell people, give us 24 hours to get the report back to you, but typically they're done before we go to bed that night. So they get an email that says, hey, click here to view your reports, and they can see their main inspection report, their defect summary, the wind mitigation, the 4-point, and any other services they added on are usually below that. But it makes it super simple for everything to be right in a client portal.
Nice. That's cool. I know I asked you earlier about like whether you prefer to work with individual agents or brokers, and you talked a lot about the importance of the relationship, which makes a lot of sense to me. Do you get invited at all or regularly to go in to like do little presentations for teams, and do brokers connect with you on that level? Is that something you guys want to do? How do you view like the education piece of the role you have?
I enjoy it. It's fun to get up and talk to people. I'm a people person, so out in the public, I enjoy getting to know them, learning what makes them work and how to make them better at what they do. I think we've got a lot of useful advice that we can give in a setting like that, where we can help them provide better options for their clients or better services. We get invited to them here and there. It's not something I focus on trying to find meetings to go to like that. But if the opportunity comes up and it's something I can fit in my schedule, I'm happy to take some time to teach some people.
Cool. Yeah, I'm sure it's a way to also build more relationships, right? Maybe at scale.
It does. Yeah, some of our agents have now become brokers, and of course, then we get back through their agency. So their new agents will come to them and say, hey, we need an inspector. I got this deal under contract. And they're like, oh, this is a guy I've worked with for 5 years. This is who you reach out to.
Yeah.
And so it does kind of work out positive in that manner too.
Yeah. So every now and again, I know we have brokers and stuff that follow our platform and follow our thing. So it might be worth a conversation to reach out to Dale and the team and be able to see if they want to get you in for a team meeting. I know a lot of times for their team meetings, they do like to bring in some other partners just to kind of break up some of the monotony every now and again and have someone share a few thoughts on a few things.
Absolutely.
What's the most frustrating part of the industry for you?
Oh man, there's a lot. Agents, answer your phones. Just answer your phones. If we're calling you, it's because we need something. You show up to a house, super's not working or the code is wrong on the box and no one's answering the phone.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, now I'm stuck here twiddling my thumbs. Just communicate, answer your phone. It blows my mind how in a sales-oriented world, people have a device that they can carry around with them and they don't use it to communicate. Like,
they're not
it's right
accessible.
there.
Yeah.
Communication is a huge thing for me. So even sitting here now, I've got an auto text set up on my phone. So it gives you 2 numbers you can call if you can't reach me right now, if it's an emergency. It gives you who you can reach out to. I know not everybody's into all of that automation, but it makes life easier. It makes people know that they're not in the dark. You can reach someone. It might not be me right now, but yeah, answer your phones, people.
Yeah, especially during business hours, right?
Absolutely,
One
yeah.
thing if we're talking about a Sunday, family time at 6 o'clock at night.
Man,
or
I've seen
something,
screenshots on Facebook where agents will say, it's before 8 a.m. I'm not responding to this right now. And it's like, but you just did. Like, you just did. Like, how hard is it to have a conversation at that point? You're already talking to them. Your phone's unlocked and you're looking at it. So
that makes sense. I know we mentioned earlier some of your plans for technology in terms of growth. Do you see yourselves expanding to other markets as well, or are you pretty content in just kind of servicing the Tampa Bay area?
I'm slow and steady. We are busy. We are very, very busy in the Tampa Bay area and the counties that surround us. I would love to eventually have someone a little further north, a little further south, but right now I'm focusing on making sure that the guys that we have are with us are up to par on everything that they need, and that we're not missing opportunities on a small level before we get bigger.
How do you determine when you want to grow your staff? So you said you have 8 inspectors, I think you said now. What's, like, in your experience, the max that anyone can handle over the course of a week that forces you to look at it and say, all right, it's time to hire again?
So we start to feel it. We have a scheduling chat that we use as well. So our guys have their own scheduling options on our calendar, and they can schedule themselves on or off or available or not available.
Okay.
And so when we start to get to that point, if we have an odd one that comes in and everybody either has time off or it's the weekend or they've got the kids, we'll post it in our scheduling chat and say, hey, anybody available that wants to pick this up? Like, we could use it. They're looking for Saturday or they're looking for Friday afternoon. And if it starts to get to a point where we're having a lot of those, we just kind of start to realize, like, it might be time to add another person or two and train them up to our standards.
That makes sense. So it's all just based on kind of the pain points, I guess you would say, of the calendar management. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I get that. Cool. Is there anything else that you feel like from a strictly an industry side of things, sometimes home inspection, and you might not agree with this, isn't viewed as the sexiest topic in the world to talk about. Maybe it is for you, but for some realtors, it's just one of those things, like you said, where they just feel like it needs to be in and out and be done quickly to get a deal secured. But ultimately, as you said, I think your point earlier is an important one. It's not about rushing the process, right? It's making sure it's done right, what's in best interest for the client, so that you can have long-term success and long-term stand behind your brand, right? Long-term. Anything else that stands out to you that you feel like is a thing that an agent should be aware of when thinking about who to work with in home inspection world?
It's interesting. First of all, I think home inspections are sexy. When I get out of the attic and I'm glistening, that's gorgeous. No, sorry, I have an odd sense of humor, but. No, communication is huge. Be involved with your clients. Don't treat them like a number. We see the builders do that all day long, and especially if they can force them to come in without an agent, it's just they're cattle in a line. But communication is huge, and setting expectations up front, I think, is also another really big thing. This is what you're going to get when you work with me. This is what you can expect. When clients are like, well, when are we going to get the report back? And it's like, oh, well, should have it to you by end of day, but give me 24 hours. And then within a couple of hours, it's in their email box. They're like, wow, that was fast. Like, this was actually a fun process.
Yeah.
So setting those standards and letting the customers know exactly what they're going to get, what they can expect, where the rough parts are going to be and where the easy parts are going to be. And I think the 2 points just set the standards and communicate tied in together pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, always better to under-promise and over-deliver than the other way around, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that makes a lot of sense. Do you prefer, I know different agents probably have different, opinions and control tactics, for lack of better words, with their clients, but do you prefer to have that direct communication with the homeowner or the seller so that you can communicate what you need to communicate with them directly, or do you want to work directly through the agent more? Or what's been your experience from that perspective?
I'm open either way. My big thing is accessibility. Like I said, we email our customers my cell phone number, so they all have it if they have problems. Anybody can reach me. I'm usually pretty good with response times. But no, if they just want to go through their agent and have the agent handle everything, we can handle that. If they want to be the forefront of communication, we can handle that too. Sometimes I'll tell them, put me in a group text. Let's chat it out together. So that way everybody knows exactly what's going on and there's no one saying I didn't know. So yeah, whatever their communication style is, we'll adapt to it and we'll handle it.
Cool. And I guess even some agents probably have a different like style too as to how they want you to communicate with the client, right?
Yeah. Sometimes we'll get a text that says, hey, here's this guy's name and number. He's buying a house. Call him. Sometimes it's, hey, so-and-so agent told me to reach out to you and get this scheduled. So sometimes we're reaching out. Sometimes they're reaching out. It just kind of depends, but we'll work with it either way. I firmly believe that everybody should have contact with the inspector. Call them, have a conversation, talk to either the company or the inspector you're going to work with, and get a feel for who they are. You could tell a lot by just talking to someone over the phone. Get that interview in, have a quick conversation with it. It doesn't have to be a waterboarding session, but get to know who you're dealing with, and I think you can make decisions pretty easily when you're selecting companies and agents and people to work with.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense, Dale, for sure. Well, just to transition a little bit for people to get to know you a little bit more on the personal side. I know we were talking off camera about how you're a big hockey guy now, huh?
Love hockey.
When did you pick up this sport to play?
Well, my wife and I have been season ticket holders for the Lightning for 5-6 years now.
Nice.
Hockey's just fun. There's nothing better than seeing a bunch of young guys get all jacked up and beat each other with
losing
sticks.
teeth and the whole 9 yards.
The whole thing. Shout out Team USA.
Yes,
but
big win recently.
Hockey's always been fun. Baseball's too slow. Football's weird. But hockey's great. Like you get 45-ish minutes of playtime, and then you get 18 minutes to go to the bathroom and get a beer and come back and do it again. And you get to do that 3 times. It's fantastic.
So you have season tickets, I think, you said to the Lightning, but you also play it, right?
I do. Yeah, I picked it up about 8-9 months ago.
Nice.
Started playing goalie, which is the hardest and most expensive position to play.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know it was going to be all of that, but it's been a workout. It's challenging. It's fun. It's the most fun a married man can have on a weeknight. Like you get to go out, talk a little chirp on the ice, have a little fun, have a beer in the parking lot, and go back and do it again the next day. So.
Now, were you a good skater before you got involved in the hockey, or was that part of the learning process?
Never skated before.
Really?
Maybe twice at like kids' birthday parties.
I feel like these hockey players have to be like really ridiculously good skaters.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're spending time on the ice, not on the blades.
That would be the whole thing I'd have to figure out first before I could worry about all the other, hockey mechanics.
Yeah, it was interesting. Never strapped up gear before. Went out one night with a couple of buddies and had everything finally show up. Got it all on. Went out, and I'm like, oh, I have to learn how to balance while stopping pucks. This is cool.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's been an interesting physical adventure.
And I know that we've had a birthday party actually over there at that Wesley Chapel Advent. Place is huge.
It's massive.
So they got all kinds of rinks in there. And when we went to a birthday party there was like a men's 40 and over league, I think, going on at the same time. So we had some time to kill, and we sat there and watched them go at it. And it was actually pretty entertaining to watch them go battle it out. Is that type of league that you're in? Is it just a bunch of kind of random guys that signed up for hockey at certain age brackets, or who do you compete with?
Yeah, so in the younger leagues, they'll normally do it in skill based. So you got the brand new guys. You got a level up novice. You've got D League, which is people that have played before, but maybe not their entire life. And as it goes up, you've got people that popped out of the womb with a hockey stick in their hand. Sometimes they've got ex-pros that are out there playing in those higher tier leagues, but it's fun. It's all skill based. If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't be there. So
what level are you in?
I couldn't find a beginner team, so I started out in novice, upper novice. I'll sub around a couple levels up, a couple levels down when they need it, but I usually play like upper novice level.
And always goalie?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 2 completely sets of
You're
equipment.
a wall back there, huh?
I try to be. Some days I am, some days I'm not.
That's funny. Yeah, that sounds like I think I'd have some fun playing some hockey, Rob. I might have to experiment. I'm more of a baseball guy myself.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I
played baseball my whole life. But
it's a rush.
And I'm not much of a skater, to be honest, but I think it would be interesting. Yeah.
It's a rush.
I like watching it.
And the common misconception is, oh, it's on ice. It's going to be cold. I've never sweat more in my life.
Like, I'm sure.
Before I even make it out of the locker room, like I'm already saturated.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
What do you have, like a game a week?
Yeah, usually I'll play Tuesday nights, and then we'll play a couple other nights throughout the week if other teams call me, hey, our goalie can't make it, I'll go play for him and help him out.
Gotcha. Yeah, interesting. Might be worth checking it out, man. We'll see what happens.
It's different. I get paid in cash during the day for work, and then I get paid in beer to go, But hey, I don't mind.
So I know you said your wife's also big into the horses.
She is.
Training?
A little bit of everything. She she volunteers with Equestrian Inc. in Brandon.
Okay.
And they're a thoroughbred aftercare facility. So the racing industry can be a little rough on horses. And so they will adopt the horses that come off the track, either get them up to where they can be like someone's, training pony, or a horse that they can ride. Sometimes they're damaged goods and they become a pasture pet. And some people like just having horses on their property. So it's a great organization that she works with there. But she does a little bit of the training, a little bit of the maintaining, teaches new people how to work with horses. Gotcha. It's a huge volunteer organization.
Yeah, interesting.
Do you do any work with that yourself,
I don't trust horses.
No. Like,
they're like 3-year-olds with big teeth.
Do you work with the nonprofit organization that
for Equestrian Inc.?
Yeah.
I'll go out and help them.
Okay.
I think Sunday I have to go out and cut up a tree for them that fell on their fence. But so I go out and help where I can when they need it.
Interesting.
Yeah,
they run like derby parties and
Tampa
stuff.
Bay Real Producers has that whole section in the magazine that talks about like giving back to charities and things like that.
Yeah, we do like a
area.
Making a Difference spotlight.
Yeah.
So we try to find good charities that, and I don't think we've done that one. We haven't done one really tied to horses directly.
That's
I don't think.
That's why I'm talking about it, Don.
Yeah, we've had a lot of different types of organizations that we've done spotlights on before. So that might be one that we can throw into the mix.
Hey, they could appreciate.
They
would appreciate the attention for sure. Yeah,
we'll have to interview your wife, I guess, on that one for sure. So is that what you and your wife spend most of your time doing when you're not jamming in the business? Is hockey and horses?
She's a director for her company. I own mine. We're both busy Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and sometimes weekends. But she plays with horses. I play with drunk, sweaty guys. It's kind of interesting.
That's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah, all right. Stop pucks is what it is.
A couple rapid fire ones as we start to put a bow on the episode for you.
Sure.
Okay, so give me this thought. Do you have a favorite book, author, seminar that you feel like you've ever attended that you feel like has made an impact on you personally or professionally?
I have a bunch of business books sitting on my shelf. I am too busy to get into them. However, I've always gravitated towards sci-fi. Anything by Stephen King that's a bit futuristic, but a little far out there. But you're like, that could happen.
Okay, look at you. So you're a fiction reader, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
There you go.
No idea what that is. Is that a good book?
Oh, yeah, it's a fantastic
Have you read that one?
No.
Okay.
I've heard of it, though.
Earthrise, yeah, it's like if Ender's Game was told from like the perspective of one of the Marines on the front line, like going to invade the alien world. Super cool book. So I've given it to one of my friends who was a Marine, and he was like, "Man, this guy went through either boot camp or something, because some of the stuff that he talks about is like so spot on to like the mentality behind all that." So sci-fi, yeah, Earthrise.
I'll have to look into it.
Yeah.
I've never been a huge fiction reader, with the exception of there's a series called the Left Behind series. Have you ever heard of that?
Mm-mm.
It's a religion, like faith-based series, but I like to read the Bible, so I like to study kind of the Book of Revelation is all about future prophecy and everything. And this series is based on biblical principles, but it's a fictional series on the left, like the rapture part of the Bible and everything else that happens in the end times according to the Book of Revelation. So it's pretty fascinating. It's like 15 books. I remember going through that and I couldn't put them down. I was just one right after another. But other than that, man, I've always been the nonfiction guy, like pounding out the business books and things that I hopefully can get me to become the best version of myself.
Sure.
You know? That's always the goal at the end of the day, right? Do you have a favorite movie or TV show?
The Departed. The
Really?
Departed is
Nice.
awesome.
That's a
Peaky
good one.
Blinders for TV show. That's always a good one.
No, that's Departed's a classic. That's a good
Yeah.
one. Yeah. DiCaprio does a great job in that movie for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, so I always like to kind of put a bow with things of what I call the legacy question, right?
Okay.
To get you to think a little bit bigger future here about the role that you're playing with your business and beyond in the community. So when, hopefully many, many years from now, and you're still walking and not beat up too much from your hockey excursions over these decades, you're on that rocking chair and you're thinking about what would be most important to you in terms of your legacy. What would you want to be most remembered for, whether it be through your own family, if you do end up wanting to have kids one day,
Sure.
if you have any, or just in general, as far as how you've impacted the community. What do you think would mean most to you?
Ooh, that's tough. I love to be spontaneous. I like it when people don't know what I'm going to do and having fun. As far as a legacy, though, I don't want my business to be too big where I don't know who I'm working with.
Mhm.
The one thing I hated about corporate life was you're just a number. You got a company number. You got, you log in every day. You barely get to see the director of the office. Like, you just don't know people. I want people to remember me for my personality, the wild side, the fun times. I think I'm turning a lot of the inspectors that work with us into better people. Some of them come from different walks of life, and it's nice to be able to say, hey, like, I gave him a shot and he's thriving. Or was doing this and now she loves this. So it's nice to be able to have an impact on people's lives in that capacity and just be there to either be a supporting member or help them become the star of their own show.
Yeah, that's neat. I mean, making an impact. And what's cool about it, in my opinion, being an entrepreneur and a business owner is that your tentacles run deep as far as how you can influence people. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Whether that's hiring your own employees, your staffing, obviously your clients, and the community that you reach. And if you're doing it intentionally with the right intentions at heart, that reputation starts to build upon itself, right? So
that's it. Your reputation is everything in the real estate world.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I know that you guys have been doing a great job because Paramount has come to us. We found out about you guys through your reputation from other agents that you were working with. And as we've interviewed more and more top producers over the years, you guys have consistently come up as a great connection and a great resource. And so keep growing what you're growing, man. It seems like things are going in the right direction.
Appreciate it. Been
Absolutely.
a fun run.
So for people who might want to connect with you, maybe ask some follow-up questions on anything we've talked about here today on the show, what's the best way for someone to connect with you if they want to even just get an inspection done or just pick your brain on something?
Texting us is easy. My phone number's all over my Facebook, but I post a lot of funny videos on Facebook. Get to know me. I've got an odd personality. I'm not for everyone, so I always tell people, like, before you hire me, watch my videos. You'll understand kind of who I am. So Dale Gerstenberger on Facebook. You can also look me up on Instagram, Dale the Inspector.
Daily Inspector on
Dale the
Instagram.
Inspector.
Okay, cool. And we'll put a bow on the episode the way we always do, which is to challenge the audience to take action on at least one thing that we've talked about today that you think can help accelerate you personally or professionally moving forward. I'm assuming if you are a top producing agent and you follow our program, there's probably relationships you already have when it comes to your home inspectors. But I also know that we've interviewed many top producers over the years who something happens and there's an opportunity in your business model to get an inspection done and your main inspector partner couldn't get it done for whatever reason, right? So we would encourage you to reach out to someone like Dale and see what they can do. We know that they provide great service, and we've gotten great feedback from a lot of the agents that they've worked with over the years, and they would be a good resource for you for sure. Maybe you just want to invite Dale or the team to be able to come speak at one of your team meetings. If you're a broker or a team leader and you'd like to get them to take a little bit of time off your team meetings calendar to be able to educate your agents and give them some insights on the more current things in the home inspection business and how to make sure those processes go smooth, especially with some of the technology changes that you heard Dale touch on. Maybe that would be an opportunity as well. Or maybe you just got to pick up one of the either hockey or horseback riding or horse training, or pick up one of the books that Dale mentioned as well. Any of those would be an action step that can hopefully accelerate things in the right direction. Maybe you just have to subscribe to the show. If you click the button below, you'll get notified every time that we drop a new episode, which is weekly, with our Top Producers Nation podcast. So follow us anywhere on the socials, Instagram platform. You can go to topproducersnation.com and learn more about our online community for agents to help you become a top producer. We have funnel programs that we've established to build out to help you be able to position yourself properly online as a top producer, and a lot of other different components there that you can check out online. So we will see you on the next episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast, and we'll see you later.